welcome to today's Just Chopsing podcast and radio show. For those of you that don't know, we do have a radio show that goes out on BHP Radio every week, Fridays at 7 p.m. And along with our podcast, if you are watching this on YouTube, please hit the like button, subscribe and comment. And that'll help us with the dreaded algorithm. So on today's show, we have Pete Thompson. And Pete Thompson is from the Magic Ease. How you doing, Pete?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're good. Dave is here as well for a change.
I missed one or two.
He keeps ducking out on me, Pete. He's used.
How does he? Can't commit.
I don't know. You know, we've done like 124 episodes now, and I think he's only done about a third of them.
Yeah, whatever. It's cause my son is getting married in 2 weeks' time, and that's kind of like overtaken everything. It's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I don't know, any excuse.
That's the only one I got.
Priorities.
That's it.
The Magic Ease, you have a new single out called, I've got it written down somewhere.
Gone, yeah. Came out a couple of weeks ago, yeah.
All right, cool. How's that being received?
Yeah, really well, actually. I mean, we've had a lot of support from radio. I think we've had over 300 plays on radio across the globe in the last couple of weeks, and getting additions to Spotify playlists, which seems to be the norm for things these days. So yeah, really pleased with how it's going down.
Yeah. Because I recognised the name actually, the Magic Ease, and I thought, how long have you been going?
We've been going since 2015, so quite a while. So we started off as a 4-piece. Started off as a 5-piece, went down to a 4-piece, then went down to a 3-piece. So we've been streamlining as we go each year.
And what are you going to be next year? 2-piece?
Become more efficient, that's it, yeah. I think that we're as efficient as we can be.
Yeah,
we've been going a while.
All right, I thought you'd been going longer than that, actually.
Oh, no, unless there's another Magic Keys that are stealing our name. But no,
yeah, that could be.
2015.
Where'd you get the name from?
So the name it was our drummer just yesterday. It comes from a kids' TV show from the early 80s that was Words and Numbers, I believe it was called. And they had a little song to try and educate kids into how the letter E changes words. So like Kit becomes kite with me and everything. And the song was called Magic E. So he just dropped in rehearsal one time and said, yeah, that's weird enough to go with. Most people think it's a drug reference.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't expect us to turn up like some kind of Happy Mondays band and just want to know where all the local hotspots are. But no, it's nothing to do with that. People are quite disappointed when we tell them, oh, right, okay.
I naturally assumed it was a ecstasy reference, to be honest.
Yeah, no. And then we designed a logo, which actually, when you look at it, looks like an ecstasy tablet. So we thought we'd done ourselves no favours with that, really.
All right, very good. So have you got any plans to make an album, or have you got an album coming out, or an EP?
Well, we've got a new EP coming out. So we've released 2 albums in our history. The recording sessions that we did with Gone, so we did 4 tracks. So at Christmas, we're putting an EP out of those 4 tracks. So releasing Gone, there'll be another single before Christmas, and then the EP around Christmas time. So that's kind of the plan for the coming months, really.
Oh, cool. Okay. So you'll be competing with Slade and Wizard, and
that's it. Going for the Christmas number 1.
Mr. Blobby.
That's it. It's a good time just after Christmas because no one's got any money to buy the big stuff, so you can get in there with very few sales.
Very shrewd, mate. Very shrewd. Are you looking to tour it as well then, and start playing the new singles live?
Yeah, we do quite a bit of touring. So we did a tour earlier this year. We've got a few gigs in the pipeline. So the tour around this will come kind of February, March time. Off the back of that, we've got sporadic gigs between now and then, but then we'll go for like a couple of week tour around the UK, which is always good fun.
Yeah, cool.
Is that going to be before or after Christmas?
That'll be after Christmas. That'll be March, April time. We'll just
right, okay.
Dates booked in right now.
Yeah. Now's the time to be getting in for your festivals as well. And
that's it. Yeah, we had a good run of festivals this summer. Actually, it's been a lot of fun. The weather was good for festivals in the UK for a change.
Yeah.
It's been a good year for festivals.
Yeah, it's been pretty good over here, to be honest. So, but I see you've supported some decent acts like The Wedding Present.
Yeah.
What Will Eat Itself.
Yeah, that was good fun. Yeah,
Yeah, they're a bit of a wacky band, aren't they?
yeah. That was a funny story about that gig. So we were supporting Wedding Present and Pot Will Eat Itself on like it kind of switched the headlining role. So we were the first band, and then either Pot Will Eat Itself or Wedding Present were headlining. And when we turned up, we were like one of the first there for the first gig, quite eager. And we set out all our merchandise. And then the Wedding Present guys turned up and just went like that and cleared it off and go, no, you're the third band. You don't get space for your merch. So we're like,
No way.
Oh, hid in the corner. Then Pot Will Eat Itself came out and basically said, the Wedding Present being big egos again, don't worry about that. You can share our merch space. So we kind of bonded more with Pot Will Eat Itself than the Wedding Present on that run of gigs. But that was good fun.
Yeah, that's a bit naughty, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't understand why bands have to have such big egos sometimes.
I know, yeah, it was a little bit of a disappointment, but no, Pot Will Eat Itself were good fun.
Yeah, I can imagine, yeah. I mean, they've had some pretty crazy songs out.
Yeah, and they had Fuzz Townsend, so obviously on drums, who's obviously got his own career now from all the car stuff he's doing, so he drew a crowd on his own, I think.
Yeah, well, he would, wouldn't he, you know?
Yeah.
What's that? They do up those bangers. What's it called?
Yeah, Car SOS or something.
Oh, yeah, Car SOS.
Yeah, so he's there. I think there are more people there because of that than Pot Will Eat Itself.
Well,
yeah.
That does happen because I used to follow James Tosland's band, and there was more bikers in the crowd than there were rockers to start with.
Yeah.
And then obviously as he became more established, then there was more music people going to the sort of gigs. But to start with, everybody was turning up with like Dunlop jackets on and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So yes, it's good. Whatever brings people in, though, isn't it, to watch it?
Well,
you know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, don't get picky. I'll pick an audience.
Yeah, definitely. So what's the sort of biggest shows you've played then to date?
So I think 2019, just before COVID hit, we did a tour with South African band called the Parlotones, their UK tour. And so we played at Chelsea Football Club not at the football club itself, but they had they've got a venue there. So that was pretty big. That was probably about 500. And then the final gig of that was the Cavern Club in Liverpool. So that was
cool.
Pretty special.
Yeah.
So I'd say festivals aside, so like the own audience there to see us, like the Cavern Club and Under the Bridge, which was at Chelsea Football Club, were the biggest gigs we've done.
Oh, that's cool.
Can you get in Norwich?
Can we get in at Norwich?
Yeah.
Norwich City, I don't know. We don't do a lot of gigs in our hometown. It's funny. With Norwich because I'm not originally from Norwich, you might be able to tell I'm from Yorkshire originally.
Okay.
I was going to say, Norwich, it's definitely in a Norwich.
Is a kind of our home city, but we end up spending so much time gigging away from it because there's quite a lot of there's not a load of venues, but a lot of bands. The competition in Norwich is quite. You could go out on a Thursday, and there could be like 10 different venues having bands on. You're like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So we don't tend to gig a lot in our hometown, which is a bit of a shame. We kind of do once a year, but do a big show there.
Yeah, there seems to be. There's quite a busy music scene over that side of the country, like Cambridgeshire and Peterborough, and like I said.
Yeah, Cambridge. We do a lot in Cambridge. Actually, we play quite a bit out there. It's about an hour away from where we are, so there's a lot of good venues there. University towns tend to be quite good.
Yeah.
Like we did a freshers gig last week. I mean, we felt very old playing a freshers gig. But
I was going to say.
Good fun. Yeah.
That was good though, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
And it's the right time to do it because all the kids still got their money at the moment.
Exactly.
As well,
Straight
buy
on
your merch.
the term, they've got the cash, buy the T-shirt. I mean, they look at you funny when you say CDs. They go, what? But, get them a T-shirt and you're done.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, how come nobody seems to have a CD player anymore? I mean, they're still in cars, aren't they? I got one in my car anyway.
Yeah, I got one in mine. I mean, we sell quite a lot of CDs. I mean, I guess our core fan base is your 35 to 50 who have been into Britpop, into 90s music. And so we tend to see at gigs, we sell like vinyl, quite a bit of CDs, because I think that era still wants something tactile to hold on to. On the streaming stuff, we do all right, but we don't do anywhere near as many streams as we do like selling physical product, which we're fine with. I mean, whatever our audience want, we'll happily sell it to them.
Yeah. Could you put all the stuff out yourself, do you?
Yeah, so I set up my own record label about 7 or 8 years ago, And I started working with some local other bands just to help them release music. And then so we put out all the Magic E stuff through that. So distribution's all taken care of and all the publishing that way. So yeah, doing everything ourselves and then work with PR companies ourselves.
Yeah.
Just means you're fully in control of everything and just you know where every penny's going, which is kind of the main thing, really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, what's the difference then between, I mean, money-wise, between putting it out yourself and putting it onto a label or a distribution service, for example, that goes through Spotify? Is there much of a difference, or?
Well, say if you were working, so I've released stuff in the past with labels, and the thing is, you know, when you come into working with a label, you're kind of a bit naive, and you think if they give you an advance, you know, whatever it is, here's a couple of thousand, go and record something. They're not really giving you that. They're going to take that back off everything.
Yeah, I understand all that.
So it's hard to judge that bit, but doing it ourselves. So if we put something out through, so the distributors we work with, you either find you can spend less up front, but they'll take a percentage of every stream, or you can pay like a bulk fee, which you might think, oh, that's a lot, I'll go for the free one. But then they don't take anything of any of your royalties. So we kind of go with that route because while it might be a bit more money to get it out there, we know for the lifetime that's out there, all the PR, that bit of cost, we've covered it, it's gone, everything else is ourselves, and we just own everything. So I'd say the main difference doing it all yourself, you just probably need to invest a bit more upfront than doing that with a label. Yeah, you might get a bit of advance and roll it over, but you still got to make that back in the long run.
I didn't realize you still had to go through like an aggregator. They call them aggregators, don't they?
Yeah. To get across all the latest outlets, if you like, going through an aggregator is better. So like recently, a good example, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, there was no concept of having music on TikTok or music available in Instagram. But then with Instagram stories about a couple of years ago, you could start adding music into your Instagram story. So then that became an outlet. But only certain aggregators had access to that. So if you're going to try and do it yourself, then you've got to try and knock up a deal directly with Instagram or Facebook now, which for a band at our level, we're not going to be at the top of that queue. So I think my advice to anyone is you find a good aggregator that's got all the latest distribution outlets, all the ones you think are relevant for your music, and if you can afford to make the upfront investment, go for one that doesn't take a percentage of anything you earn off the back of the streams, because then at least you know what you're going to get in and what you're in control of.
Yeah. I thought, I mean, because I see all these things on when I look into Spotify now and again, you know, you see your artist sign up on the back end of it, don't you? Artist band sign up page, if you like. Yeah, I didn't realize you started to go through an aggregator, that was all. I mean, I used to go through a company called Ditto.
Yeah, I remember Ditto years ago.
Remember them? Yeah, I used to use them. How long ago was that?
1932.
15 years ago, I guess.
I was going to say 15 years ago, I did stuff through Ditto.
Yeah, maybe a bit longer, yeah. 2010 maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they still going, Ditto?
I think so. They may have changed the name, but I think Ditto is still going. I mean, we use one called Emu Bands, and I'd say they work well for if you're putting out a lot of stuff. I think it all comes down to if you're serious about it and it's, you know, you're going to be releasing regular stuff, you kind of want to go with a distributor that's not going to charge you per release because that'll just stack up more and more. You kind of want to spread it out. So we get our own account manager, we talk through what we're doing, and it just makes it a little bit easier to manage. I mean, there's loads out there. DistroKid seems to be a popular one. With bands as well. But yeah, it's quite a minefield, really.
Yeah, I mean, DistroKid's been going for years, isn't it? That was I mean, because they press CDs for you as well, don't they, DistroKid?
I think they do. Yeah. We do all that. Well, not ourselves, but we do that separately from our digital stuff.
Okay.
So we tend to get our vinyl done out in Malaysia, and then our CDs are done somewhere up in the north of England, and then all the digital stuff taken care of separately.
Yeah. I was just going to bring it up actually because you said about the vinyl. So is that like expensive to do, or?
Yeah, well, we did. So a couple of years ago, we did our second album, Dead Star, and we'd had quite a few people say, "Oh, will you ever do a vinyl pressing?" And it is quite expensive, depending on the size of the run you're going to do. And we kind of said to those people, "Well, we might, we're not sure. And then we ended up doing like a Kickstarter fundraiser for it, and we got it all covered. So we did like, get a signed T-shirt or do a gig in your living room, something like that, and then raised it up. And we raised about £3,000. So that covered about, I think, including the shipping and everything, that's probably about 120 or so. We got pressed for that. No, probably it's all used. That was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it's always really down to, your fan base a bit. And now if we're going to get 120, we know we can sell those. Like, not a lot of bands would probably ship them, but we seem to get rid of them.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty cool. Probably a little bit different now with Brexit.
Yeah.
It'll be a bit more difficult.
I was out in Malaysia, and they were pretty good. But I don't know now. If we looked at it again, might be something closer to home that's a bit cheaper.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, especially to import everything now.
Yeah,
it's gone a bit bananas, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a bit
super expensive.
Well, I don't know what the energy prices are like over there at the moment, but they're going through the roof over here, like because
it's the same here. Yeah. A lot of the venues we play, they're struggling with it because obviously, like to power a venue on a music night, it's going up and up. And a lot of the original gigs like ours, the ticket prices at the level we're at are either quite nominal, or in some cases, if it's a Thursday night, it might be free. So I mean, they've got to really make sure they get the people in the door to make sure they can keep operating it. It's a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. Well, if they get more people in, like more sweaty people, then they don't need to put the heating on.
That's it. Yeah. Get the sweaty ones in. That's the tactic.
Get them dancing. That's what you need to do.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right. Yeah, cool, man. But I sent you an email the other day asking you for your 5 favorite songs.
Yes, I've done my homework.
Oh, did you? And why they're your 5 favorite songs? Actually.
Yeah.
So go on and give me your first song.
Okay, so in order, these are in order. So All or Nothing by the Small Faces.
Oh, great tune.
That is my favourite. And the reason for that is when I was first starting to play, I've got an older brother. So I guess like most kids who have an older brother, your music collection and tastes start to get influenced by the stuff they either pass you down or make you mixtapes. And when I would have been about 13 or 14, and I was listening to the rubbish that was in the charts, my older brother thought he had to intervene before my music taste went beyond. So he made me a mixtape. And on one side, it was like 60s stuff. And on the second side, it was like 70s stuff going up to like punk. It was a C90. And the first song on side 1 was All or Nothing by the Small Faces. So up until that point, I'd been listening. Do you remember in the early 90s when you got all that rubbish reggae kind of stuff like Shaggy, CJ Lee?
Yeah.
So that was what I was listening to. And then hearing like the opening bit to All or Nothing with the guitars, and I was like, from that point, it was like going, right, who are the Small Faces? Or Steve Marriott, or they became the Faces, or then Ronnie Wood was in the Faces, and he discovered all these bands. And then I was starting guitar about a year later, and all that stuff was suddenly that's what I became into. So that song always kind of, I see it as that what kickstarted me going one way into my music tastes rather than, going somewhere else.
Yeah. I remember, I had that on the original single, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Because I inherited all my uncle's 7-inch singles.
Yeah.
Because we used to live with my uncle years and years ago when I was a kid,
Yeah.
And then when we eventually got our own house, my mum sort of like took all the singles, and then I had them all in my bedroom, and All or Nothing was in there.
Yeah. Well, that was a similar thing. Like my brother, when he went to uni, he just gave me like I think he obviously kept the really good ones to himself. I'll give him these ones. And that was like, there was no Small Faces 7-inch, but it was all like, pretty much where most of this top 5 would have come from, somewhere in there.
Ah, right, okay. That's cool. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but
43.
43, okay. Because I was just talking to David actually off air, because he likes to say when we're off air. I mean, our age. I mean, I'm a little bit older than you guys, but I was saying, well, McDonald's would come into the party really in the UK because they started in America in what, 40s, 50s.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure when they first came to the UK, but can you remember your first McDonald's experience? Oh. Was it like a family thing? Did you go with your parents?
It'd have probably been an invite to a party, I'd imagine, when McDonald's used to kind of be the place to go for your parties. I can't remember the first one, but I can remember going as quite a young kid, about, probably like primary school age, and 8, 9, 10-ish.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense, yeah, because I was about 18, 19 actually when they first brought the one into Cumbrae.
Yeah. I was close to like 13 or something, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it did come really late to Cumbrae, didn't it? But I remember we were really excited because it was where Fads used to be there, like a
I can't remember what was there. It was right on the corner, innit?
like a DIY shop or something. One of us used to sell paints and everything. And I remember when I went there, and I was saying to Terry, my mum and I can't remember my mum and dad ever taking me to McDonald's really, with the exception of one actually, which I'll tell you about. But I'm sure it was my gran. So my gran used to take us to town, and me and my sister used to convince her to take us to McDonald's for a treat. And she just used to have a coffee because obviously, like my gran, well, she was 102 when she passed, but she was brought up from sort of like the war and everything, and all the food that she ate. There's no way she'd stick any of that muck inside her, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a bit of a random one. I mean, like I said, I was about 18, I think. So, yeah, my mum definitely didn't take me to McDonald's.
Yeah, it did become really late.
Yeah, it'd definitely been a birthday party for me, my first one.
Yeah.
Mine probably would have been like a drunken afternoon from the pub, I expect, on a Saturday.
On the way out from what was it called?
The steer. I always just got the steer. I only used to go in the Moonraker now and again.
Yeah.
But the pubs used to shut at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday then. So it was like fall out of the pub at 3, go to McDonald's, go fall asleep in the cinema for an hour, and then go back to the pub. So go on and give me choice number 2.
So choice number 2 is Barbara O'Reilly by The Who.
Okay, yeah.
So
wicked.
I think the reason for that one, I guess, when I started to learn guitar, I won't say I wanted the quick fix, but I wasn't too concerned about being like a lead, virtuoso. And I had this guitar teacher he was really good because I'd learned piano for about 5 years before that, and I'd never really got into it. I knew at one point it wasn't for me, so I was kind of doing the lessons because my mum said, you got to do something. And then I had to pick up guitar because I was more driven to do that. And he basically said, bring me a cassette of all the songs that you want to learn or what's made you want to learn. And Barbara O'Reilly was on this, and it came from the fact that I was thinking, if I don't learn all this virtuoso stuff, I'm probably never going to be able to write or any cool stuff. And then I think watching The Who and Pete Townsend with his big windmill guitar, and for the main playing power chords, and then on top of that, Barbara O'Reilly's only got 3 chords in it really all the way through. Yeah, it's such a monumental song. I always look to that and go, I don't need to be a virtuoso guitarist. If someone with 3 chords, and obviously, you need a great drummer, a bass player, you need Roger Daltrey on vocals, but take that aside, you can produce something like that. Then that was always like my nights. This is my kind of yardstick of where I want to be. And there's a version of it. I think my very favourite version of it was 2000. I think it was around the year 2000 because Roger Daltrey does a lot with the Teenage Cancer Trust in the UK, and that's I think every year they do like a gig at the Royal Albert Hall. And the one in the year 2000, The Who filmed theirs, and they had a number of guests throughout the night, and they had Nigel Kennedy on doing the violin part at the end of Barbara O'Reilly, and it's just amazing. Kind of, you always think, if we were that big and we were doing a gig like that, we'd end it like that, something so monumental. So that's why that song's in there in the list.
Yeah. Was that the show where they did the Buzzcocks one and they had Roger Daltrey, Dave Gilmour?
It could be. They had a lot of guests that night. I know that pretty much every other song they were wheeling on someone else to play with them. Yeah. Paul Weller was with them, Eddie Vedder, Kelly Jones, Noel Gallagher, also Bryan Adams, I think. So it could have been very much just because then they used to do 2 or 3 nights. So it was like over 2 or 3 nights. So they could have, probably been a similar.
Yeah. I only came across that track the other day. Actually, I was going through some stuff like old punk stuff I used to listen to on Spotify, and it came up on there, and I was like, Buzzcocks song, Never Fallen in Love with Someone, and then it was like all these different artists doing it, and Roger Daltrey was singing also. So probably one of them. Type gigs.
Yeah, but no, it was because that was with Zach Starkey on drums as well, that particular version. So yeah, that's always up there, one of my favourite songs.
Yeah. Oh, did you see Ringo Starr just released a new single?
He has, I think. Yeah, it was a couple of months ago or recently, yeah.
Yeah, I started listening to it. I had to turn it off.
Yeah, I'm not too sure of Ringo's singing voice.
No.
It definitely won Yellow Submarine anyway.
You're not the one out of the Beatles. You're waiting to hear the latest single of his. Let's put it that way.
No.
And no, he should just stick to the drums, I think.
Yeah.
All right, go on, give me number 3.
So number 3 was "You Can't Always Get What You Want" by the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
Why would that? I guess this mainly comes down to on a similar thing to Pete Townsend, but kind of when you're starting to learn guitar, we're kind of looking for your guitar heroes. I listen to music generally, you have to just be a musician, but finding your kind of music heroes. I so like Keith Richards. I've always been just fascinated by his guitar playing. When you look at, as he's got older and older, the state of his hands, you see it, but he still managed to adapt his playing. And just the kind of I guess the camaraderie Ronnie Wood and the different guitarists he's played within the Stones when they've begun, and the fact that he's likely to live forever as well.
Yeah.
But I just think there's no pretense. I know that there is some pretense in the Rolling Stones with the likes of Jagger and the stage show, but you always get the feeling with them that they're doing it because they love it. Yes, they are. It's for the money, but they've got enough money. If they wanted to stop and were fed up of it, they would stop. And so even when you see them do some of the older stuff now, not interested in new stuff, you just see they give it the same passion. So that particular track, I really like the arrangement of it. You know, it's quite acoustically driven. The great lyrics in it are great, tells a great story. But I think it's more to do with the Stones themselves necessarily than saying it's that track. But that is my favourite track of theirs, and they're one of my favourite bands.
Yeah, well, like you touched on that. I mean, Keith Richards and Ronnie Wood, they've got this like magical chemistry, if you like.
Yeah.
And they definitely, if you watch some documentaries about them where they're talking about each other and their old drug habits and rehab and they've definitely pulled each other along through some rough times. Them pair, like. Yeah,
and again, I think it might be Fleet there. I don't think, thinking about it, any of the songs, definitely not in this list, but none of them are what you would call like there's virtuoso guitarists in the band or virtuoso musicians. And I think a lot of it, the bands I'm into, it's like, if you took them all individually, you might not go and watch them on their own, but when they're together in their band that they are, there's just something about like the Who and stuff like that and the Stones that when they're together as those people, just makes it quite special, like the Small Faces. I guess you could say with Steve Marriott, he had that voice that you'd probably go sit and watch him on his own if he was doing an acoustic gig. But it's like that collection of people like Ronnie Lane, Steve Marriott, Kenny Jones, Ian McCallum, together, this rabble of the Small Faces, and it just makes that awesome noise.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, I saw Roger Daltrey on TV actually. What was he on? Was he on the Graham Norton show? Singing,
I don't know.
That one. Yeah, he was on the Graham Norton show with his band. It wasn't the Who. It was like he had a new album out or whatever. Yeah, it's not the same, is it?
No. But I mean, I think that's what. I think when I was younger, and one of my songs in this list will be a representation of that. And either it's your parent, mainly when you're parents, you always think without necessarily even listening to any recommendation that music's gonna be rubbish or whatever like that. And you might then go, oh, they're an old band, why they carry on? But then as you get older, and especially as you play music and you start to see some of these, in quotes, older bands still going, you kind of get it. You go, well, yeah, I know why you're doing it, because it's all you do. It's like, whether no one was watching, Roger Daltrey still has that need to perform now, and all that. So I think it doesn't really matter. Age becomes less relevant if they still can put something out and it's got merit. Then it doesn't really matter how old you already come from. And I don't know. I think that opinion became formed as I started being in a band and getting the older side of being in a band and stuff like that. But yeah, I think a lot of that kind of go. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter. It
doesn't matter. It doesn't. I don't think it matters about your age. I just think it matters, like you said, it's that chemistry they get when they're in a certain band.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you that I wouldn't necessarily want to go see Roger Daltrey with another band. I don't want to go see him with the Who. Well, now it'd only be two of them really, so I don't even know whether I want to see the Who as it is now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, because if you want to go off age, I mean, you could look at Tom Jones as an example, who's still smashing it with his voice. To be honest. I mean, his voice is incredible.
Phenomenal.
That is amazing. Yeah.
You know, he's in his 80s now.
Yeah, there's an album he put out a few years ago. I can't remember it off the top of my head. It was quite an acoustic one. And I think it was trying to be in the same vein as when Johnny Cash did that one with Rick Rubin, which was very acoustic. But there's a few songs on that where it's just Tom Jones and an acoustic guitar, and it's just phenomenal, you know, very basic production, which you can get away with if you've got someone with a voice like that, or you got someone like who presents like Johnny Cash. You can get away with like it's just a guitar and that.
Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah. I mean, his last album he brought out, he like did a lot of cover songs.
Yeah.
One of them was a hymn. One of them was a Cat Stevens song. It was a pretty eclectic album, if you like. It was a little bit out there.
Yeah.
As well. So some of the tunes were. I said to you, Dave, didn't I? Yeah. Some of the tunes on here are a bit, you know. I mean, especially early Cat Stevens stuff. The one he sang where I want to be on TV, and it was a bit mad, really.
Must be great when you get to that level in your career where you can go, "No, I'm going to do this," and no one around can make you say, "Oh no, I shouldn't do that." No, that's why I do this.
Yeah.
You know? It's fantastic to be able to go there and do it. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Plus, like Robbie Williams, I'm not a massive fan, but he done a swing album, didn't he? Which was completely different than what he did, and sold out the album all 20 times already.
Yeah.
He got in there, do you know what I mean? So.
Well, the thing with Robbie Williams is, like, you know, he's in the UK he's huge, and in Europe he's huge, and in America they don't give him time of day.
Walk around, can he? Just walk around a normal person.
Yeah, he didn't want to go there. He said he wasn't interested in breaking America.
You know, well, he lives in America. I mean, he lives in Hollywood, but
yeah, he wasn't interested in breaking it. I remember
he's a one-hit wonder.
Shows.
Yeah, that was funny actually. Mention one-hit wonders. There's a guy watching it on YouTube last night. There's a guy called Rick Beato. He's got a couple of million followers, and he's a music producer. But his channel, he'll dissect songs and like why this song's great. You know, really down to theory. But he's American, and he did last night. I watched it. I think it was a couple of weeks ago. 21 hit wonders from the 80s.
Yeah. And
it was interesting because he was in the US. So he was calling things like number one was Aha, Take On Me. And he said they're a one hit wonder. And you think in the UK, well, actually, Aha had quite a few hits. Like number two in their one hit wonders was Madness, Our House.
Okay.
No way.
So, Madness, a one hit wonder. And I was watching this movie, so I think, actually, he's looking at it through this American lens. It was quite interesting to see what, you know, and then you look at actually what charted by Madness in the US. Our House was the biggest thing. Everything else was pretty much nowhere near.
Yeah.
To call Madness one hit wonders over here in the UK, you'd get a funny look.
Yeah. I mean, they had like 9 top 10 hits, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they had, who else was in the list? They had Dexy's Midnight Runners were in there. Soft Cell were in there. So a lot of things that over here you'd consider to be, they were quite, you know, consistent bands of the 80s.
Yeah, well, in the UK anyway, obviously.
Yeah.
But, all right. Chuck me number 4.
Number 4 is...
Shaggy, it wasn't me. You said it's from you. It's from you.
Yeah, CJ Lewis, Sweet's My Sweet. No, so number 4 is Oasis, The Master Plan. So 4 and 5, I really did think which order they'd go in. But yeah, and so Oasis, I think, this song, because just at the time, you know, it was a B-side, and when The Master Plan came, obviously Oasis were massive for those 2 or 3 years that informed a lot of my youth learning guitar and being that age. So they were everywhere. But it was at that point where it seemed like everything they were putting out was just these massive hits. And then The Master Plan was just a B-side. And it was like, I remember listening to that because when I first started to write songs, you know, just trying to rhyme every second line. And then hearing The Master Plan, I think I should give up. That's a B-side. And I know written that. So that was... And I think that summarizes really that point when I'd mentioned I went from playing the piano and thinking, I don't want to do this. And I probably would have stopped music. But then, and I think this would have been 94, 95. Do you remember, I don't know if you in Hollywood, was there, it was on Channel 4, you had The White Room.
Yeah.
And Oasis were on it in, I think, 95. So this would have been after Definitely maybe just before Morning Glory was coming out. So they were on that rise. And I remember it was either that day or the day before, I'd said to my mum and dad, I don't want to play piano anymore. I think I got to about grade 5. And they were pretty cool about it. So, okay, but think if there's another instrument at the time. I go, I don't know. And then I saw Oasis do, I think it may have been Roll With It. It's Good to Be Free. And then stood there with guitars and this swagger. I thought, guitar looks pretty cool. that might get me the ladies, because none of the ladies have cared about the fact I can play William Tell's Overture on the piano. That's not worked. But that looks like there might be a chance that would work. And so Oasis and that song, probably in that list because of that, again, was like, no, that. Well, the Small Faces, the Who became the things I wanted to learn. That thing that, guitar, it was kind of coming from those early Oasis things when they were on that rise.
Yeah.
I mean, less so after 2000 when they kind of came out of the core Britpop bit, but between like 94, 95 to about 98, when they were just everywhere and like Nebworth and all that, it was just like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, they were pretty heady days, I guess, for Oasis, weren't they?
Yeah.
And before they decided to crawl up their own backside, really.
Yeah, and it got a bit dull. Yeah, I think those first 2 albums are great. Then after that, started to lose interest a little bit, and then you discover other things. And,
yeah, it's a shame.
It's Liam's birthday today.
Whose?
Liam Gallagher's birthday.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I don't know. He's got 50. Is he 50 now?
50 today, yeah. Noel's wished him happy birthday.
Oh, is he? That must be big news.
There you go. Reunion on the cards for next year, then.
He'll come back, yeah.
They'll be at Glastonbury, I expect.
Yeah, sure they will.
Or Nebworth, something like that. Because I just saw Robbie Williams just played a big show in Munich.
Oh, did he?
A couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it was his first show in a couple of years, 2 years, 3 years maybe. But he had like 150,000 people there.
Wow.
It's incredible. I mean,
Amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And now he's coming to the UK, and I think he's going to do some shows in the UK now.
Right, okay.
So, they're all stadium gigs.
Yeah. I saw him years ago in Millennium Stadium, and I got to be honest, he was really good.
Yeah, I'd like to see him.
Really good. Top Loader supported him. I'd never heard of them until that point, and they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant live. They were. But
I was reading something about Top Loader.
ABC. It was ABC. Then Top Loader, and then Robbie Williams. And Top Loader were quite a small band, and they were playing in front of like 120,000 people.
Yeah.
Bricking themselves every night, probably.
Yeah, because the singer from Top Loader is the keyboard player, isn't it? So that's all.
Yeah, class they were.
Didn't he write loads of songs for people?
Who? Robbie?
No, the singer from Top Loader.
Right, I don't know.
What's his name? Can't think of his name.
I can't think either.
I'm sure you'd on the radio earlier on, and they were saying about Top Loader being like they were pretty much almost a one-hit wonder band as well.
Yeah, Dancing in the Moonlight. That was it, wasn't it? That was the
Achilles Heel was their best track. I thought.
That was a good track. Yeah, Achilles Heel. Yeah.
But I can't think of the singer's name now. But he is actually quite a prolific writer for other artists.
Okay.
And he's had loads of hits. He's like one of these guys from the. Who's that guy that writes for Ed Sheeran?
Oh, there's a few. There's Johnny McDade is one of the what writes a bit for Ed Sheeran.
Is he out of
Snow Patrol?
Yeah, that's him. Yeah. He's that sort of guy. Yeah, that Top Loader guy is just like writing for all these people, and it's like, whoa, that's so you can't really call him a one-hit wonder. He's like written all these hits.
I always do think you probably get the best of both worlds with that if you're just a songwriter, because you can go, I can still go down the street because I'm not the one performing it, but I get all the money because I wrote it. So it's perfect. I'll take that.
Yeah. Well, he writes a load of stuff as well, doesn't he? Ed Sheeran, he writes for other people as well.
Yeah.
Bit of a ghost writer, if you like.
Yeah, he doesn't live too far away from me because obviously I'm in South Norfolk, and so he's in. He's about 20. I'm just pointing over my shoulders like that. He's about 20 miles down there. It's 20 miles down there in Framlingham near his castle on the hill. So I did do a gig with him years and years and years ago when he was before he broke out in Ipswich. That's not too far. That's the closest town to where he's from. And it was this all-day pub had put on this all-day gig. And the band I was in at the time, so this would have been early 2000s. We were playing, and he was on the acoustic stage outside. And I don't write about it because I spoke to him a little bit, and I knew him from around the scene. But if someone had said at that gig, that guy is going to be you wouldn't have known. He had a quirk to him, obviously the way he looked and some of the way he was playing, but just his rise has been phenomenal. You look at it and go, you wouldn't have said, and that's the guy that's going to be like the biggest selling singer-songwriter in the world.
Do you know what? I still wouldn't say it. I just don't get him.
No, well, I don't get it. I get
Terry's face. I cannot stand him.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. There's something about him. I don't know what it is. It's the same as Coldplay, right? I get they're a good band, But the lead singer, God, he just drives nails through me.
Right. Yeah, I'm not a Coldplay fan.
I don't know, I just don't get it. But, you know, if we were all like the same thing, it'd be boring.
Yeah, that's it. I think because I totally get you, because I've looked at Ed Sheeran, I have nothing against him, but I listen and go, I don't get it. I don't get why it's so popular.
But everybody wants to play with him, don't they? All the top guys want to, like you said, they all want him to write for him. They all want to be on the stage with him. I don't get it. If he was in my school, we would have beat the shit out of him. Not one of them. Do you know what I mean? I just don't get it. But, you know, it's horses for courses, isn't it?
But I do remember he must have been probably about 15 at that gig. And the brief chat I had with him, he wouldn't remember, from Adam. He was crashing already on people's floors, and he'd already decided, oh, no, I'm doing music. He'd quit. So maybe he was 16 because he'd quit out of school. But he'd already committed that that's what I'm going to do. So his drive and his determination and all of that kind of stuff, obviously it helps, because he was just, I'm so focused on that's all I'm doing.
Where's that echo coming from? Is that coming from you, Dave? No, it wasn't me. It definitely wasn't me.
I haven't moved anything.
No, I just had a really bad echo then.
I still got it as well.
Have you?
Got now.
Stop now?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, didn't he break through on a TV program?
I don't know. I can't.
Was he on Britain's Got Talent or something like that?
No, nothing like that.
I don't think no.
Somebody just discovered him, I think, and
yeah, he did something in the US.
Jamie Foxx. It was Jamie Foxx, wasn't it? I remember watching Jamie Foxx. That might have been on Graham Norton. And he said he just let him. He'd heard him play and sing or something, and he ended up staying in Jamie Foxx's house for a couple of weeks for free and stuff, sleeping on his floor. And so I don't know if it was Fox that sort of discovered him or, you know, helped him out along his way, but yeah, fair play to him. He obviously, you know, he had a dream and a desire, and he stuck with it, didn't he? And, you know,
well, he must have been doing all right to get to America in the first place.
Yeah.
Not many bands go to America, do they? You know,
or stick at it. That's the thing as well with breaking America, isn't it? You look at it. I mean, we've never done it ourselves, but we've played with bands who have tried to crack America and have just said, you don't appreciate how big it is till you actually get out there and try and gig, and you go, right, you're going to be here for a year, and that'll be everywhere once, and then you need to go back round again. And you can see why they go, no, we'll just stick to the UK or whatever. But those that really commit to it obviously see the benefit. But
well, I suppose he was pretty much one of the first guys to play an acoustic guitar with a loop pedal, wasn't he?
Yeah.
You know, and then actually bring that to the forefront of the music scene, and then.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anybody doing it before him, really. There might have been one or two, but you never heard of them. But
yeah, I think Katie Tunstall did it in one.
Yeah, she did.
She was Holland, didn't she? And then, but yeah, he was like the first to kind of make a whole kind of set out of it, if you like, and the whole layers of the sound.
Clever mind.
Yeah. I'll give him credit for what he's good at. It's just I don't want to listen to it. That's all. But you know, it's you know, fair play to him. He's obviously good at what he does, and a lot of people like it. So.
Yeah. I mean, I watched an Instagram video with him because he had that hit out where he was dressed up as a vampire. Not long ago.
Bad Habits.
Bad Habits, yeah. And he said, "Oh, this is how I'm going to have to play Bad Habits live." And then he went through his whole, because obviously it's a multi-track single, you know, with big production, and he explained how he was going to play it live because there's only him and his guitar and a loop pedal basically. And then he broke it all down as he would play it, you know, these chords loop, banging on his guitars, like using it like a drum loop, and then it was really good actually. Only a minute video, but it went through how he was going to play it. So
yeah, it's clever.
Yeah, it is very good. Well, go on and give me a last and
the last one. Last one's "Born to Run" by Bruce Springsteen.
Okay.
So this comes from what I was saying earlier. Like my dad was always into Springsteen, but when I was younger, I would not listen to him because I said, "Well, he's rubbish."
Yeah, your dad's listening to it. Yeah,
he must be awful. And then that was only just really again through playing guitar, discovering more music, then hearing like "Born to Run," particularly like in the E Street Band, you know, and a phenomenal set of musicians, you know, Clarence Carter down, Clarence Clemens down, and things like that. And so I've seen him a couple of times, and just that song's just a bit of an anthem.
He definitely can't sing, can he?
Who's Springsteen?
Yeah.
But he has a way, doesn't he? He's a bit like Dylan. You won't say Dylan's a singer, but he has
Dylan's not a singer.
Deliver for the stuff that he writes.
Yeah, I mean, Oh, it must be. Was it just before COVID? And he sacked little Stephen out of the band. Because I mean,
Yeah,
little
I
Stephen
noticed,
has
yeah,
been with him
Springsteen,
forever,
yeah.
and then he just had enough of him. I think I think it was just before COVID, if I remember, or
Right.
maybe. And he was like, "Yeah, you're fired, man. Your drug habit's doing my head in now." But that's like after 30 odd years, you know what I mean?
30
40
years,
years,
drug
maybe.
habits a bit
Yeah.
For 30
Maybe,
years, it was all right. Now
yeah. Maybe it's got a bit woke.
yeah. Yeah. No, I saw him twice, and he played for like 3.5 hours, 4 hours each time. And it was
Yeah.
pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, he does tend to do. I think he likes to give people their money worth. I think.
Yeah. Well, he has like people stand at the front with like the songs that they want him to play on placard, and you can see where he might go. All right, yeah, we will do that.
Okay.
I think there was an interview with the drummer who said that he knows what song they're going to do. They don't have a set list, but he knows what song they're going to do from the way that he counts it in. So you just have to play it together for so long that there's just that chemistry.
All right.
That's good,
cool.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That is good, yeah.
All right, then, mate. Well, thanks for talking to us.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And yeah, keep us updated with what's coming out in the future.
Will do, yeah.
And we'll check it on the radio. And
Yeah, any gigs as well? Do you get down here very often in South Wales?
We
Over here, actually, isn't it?
Yeah, no, we've not done any gigs over in South Wales. We've played in North Wales, but we haven't done South. But we're looking for. So the way when we book out our tours, we pretty much look at where we played before, where people want us to play, and then pretty much go right. Going from there to there looks like it'll make sense. So he may appear on our next schedule for like March, April time.
Yeah, or Bristol.
Yeah, Bristol. Yeah, we got asked to play a lot in Bristol actually. So that'll be
really great venue. Great music scene in Bristol.
Yeah. There's I've been to gigs at the Beer Keller in Bristol. But I've not played any there, but yeah. No, it might appear on our schedule for next year.
Oh, good stuff. Cool. I'll keep my eyes open.
Nice. Yeah. Well, cheers. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh,
that's cool. Hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Nice, been good fun.
You going to ask him one of the other questions?
Shall I ask you?
Now we've had all the good stuff out of him before. You can scare him off now if you want.
All right, then. Go on. Let me just drag my email up, because I email myself because I've been working nights and I just get these random ideas. So I email myself in work.
I'm going to have to try and figure them out when you read them again. Then what was I on about there?
All right, then. Okay, here's a question. What is disc golf?
What is disc golf?
Yeah.
Disc golf. Is that the sport with like, it looks like a frisbee and they're just throwing a frisbee into like across a golf course?
It is.
Is that it?
Well done. But there is a twist. There is a twist.
Right.
Because you have to be a virgin to play it.
Really?
Yeah. But only virgins are allowed to play it.
Really? I feel like
that's right.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, because everyone knows that you can't fit a frisbee into a golf hole, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you're a non-virgin. Because virgins haven't got a clue about putting anything into holes.
Ed Sheeran is a world champion. Allegedly.
The world champion.
He can't be. He's got kids. Oh, I'm going to ask you a question now. This is going to be the last question I'm going to ask you.
Right.
And this is a multiple choice question, and you have to pick one, right?
Okay.
It's on the similar sort of lines of fuck, marry, kill, but it's not quite fuck, marry, kill, right?
Right.
If somebody threw a hot liquid over you at a petrol station, what would you do? Would you A, roll on the floor hoping that you don't combust? B, put your hands in the air and piss your pants? Or C, go straight for an AIDS test?
I think I'd go for A to make sure I don't combust.
All right, cool. And I've got some worse ones than that I've been picking up. But I won't go there. All right. Well, yeah. We look forward to speaking to you again soon when you've got something new to tell us.
Brilliant. Cheers, guys. Take care.
Yeah.
David hopes to see you on. I can't see you come to Holland anytime soon, so.
Well, we were before COVID. We did have a European tour book that had Holland. We had a couple of dates in Holland.
Oh, did you?
So, yeah. So the Parlotones, being from South Africa, they did a lot in Holland, and they set us up with a few of their connections. So we had a couple of dates
Oh, you have to get
where
back
the
on it, man.
venues were, but no, I'll keep you in the loop if that comes up again.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
All right.
excellent.
All right, cool.
All
Thank
right.
you very much.
All right. Yeah,
Cheers,
take it
then.
easy.
Yeah,
Cheers,
catch you
mate.
later.
All right.
All right.
Bye.